Hey, what's up, everybody? This is Alfred from Practical Code Academy, and welcome to a new video. In this video, I'm going to show you how you can use the Leaflet JavaScript library and the Mapbox API to generate maps like this and also create a map layers. For example, we have the circle, we have the marker, and the polygon here. Also, I'm going to show you how you can create pop-up messages. So when I click in this marker, as you can see, I get a pop-up message with an image, title, and paragraph. The map actually is very interactive. You can zoom in and you can zoom out for the map. You can create multiple layers over the map. Also the circle here, when you click on it, you're going to show I'm a circle, and also the polygon, it having the pop-up of the text, I'm a polygon. I hope you're going to like this video, and let's get started. Okay, I'm going to start by creating a project folder. I'm going to call it Maps Project. Open the folder with Visual Studio Code. In this project, we're going to need two files. The markup file, which is index.html, and the JavaScript file. In that case, I'm going to call it main.js. For the markup file, I'm going to generate the boilerplate using emmet by typing the exclamation mark and pressing tab. And this will give me the very basic HTML that I'm going to need, like the header and the body tags and the title. I'm going to change the title. I'm going to change it to Maps Project. I'm going to save it. And I'm also going to link my main.js here inside the body before closing the body tag. So I'm going to use the script tag and set the source attribute to main.js. Now for this project, we're going to use the Leaflet Library. It's a JavaScript library that's going to allow you to use multiple functionalities over the map. So for example, if you want to draw a circle, if you want to add a marker, if you want to add a polygon. However, it's not going to provide the map for you. In order to get the map, you need to use the Mapbox map provider. So the Mapbox is an API that will provide the map for you. However, the Leaflet will give you the functionality to add any layers over this map. So first I'm going to create an account on the Mapbox to get the API key. So I'm going to search for Mapbox. I'm going to click on Mapbox, and you need to create an account. As you can see, I already logged in, so I'm going to log out, sign out, and you need to click in this button, Start Mapping for free. And it's completely free. You don't need to add any credit cards or anything. So you have to fill the username, email, password, first name, last name. Company is an optional, and agree, and then get started. In my case here, I already have an account, so I'm just going to log to it, sign in. I'm going to sign in. Once you signed in, you're going to be in the dashboard, and all you need to do here, you don't need to read the documentation, you don't need to do anything. All we need is just the API key. So I'm going to copy this API key. Once I click on this icon here, it's going to copy it to my clipboard. I'm going to head to my main.js, and I'm going to create a constant. I'm going to call it API key, and I'm going to save it over there. Now it's already saved. And that's done for the Mapbox. We don't need to do anything else. So we're going to close it, or actually let's go to the Leaflet webpage. So I'm going to search for leaflet.js. As I mentioned before, the Leaflet is a JavaScript library. So when you go to their main webpage, they actually have a great documentation. I highly recommend that you go and read the documentation. They have tons of examples how to use this library. So here they have like a small sample how to use the marker and the pop-up screen and load the map. For us, we're just going to go for the tutorials, and there's tons of tutorials. We're just going to stick with the basic tutorial. You can use the responsive maps. You can add custom icons. You can have an interactive maps, and so many other tutorials. In the quick start guide, if you click on it, they're gonna tell you how you can install this library. First here, we're gonna need the CSS file. As you can see, this is a link tag with the CSS file for the Leaflet JavaScript library. So I'm gonna copy it. I'm gonna add it to my index.html. In the head here, I'm just going to copy the link tag. I don't need the cross origin or the integrity attributes, so I'm going to take them out. Now I'm going to save. So this step is already done. The second step is include the leaflet JavaScript files after the leaflet CSS. Actually, I'm going to put it inside the markup here, inside the body tag, just before my main.js. And also I'm going to take out the cross origin and integrity. I'm going to save, and that's it. You already loaded the library to your application, and you can use it right away. And if I open this with the live server, and you can see you can't see anything here yet because we didn't define the map yet. But if you go to the console, and I go to the console here, and I press and type in L, you will get all this functions inside this L object. So this is what the map provides you. They provide you with the L object. And the L objects have multiple tons of methods that you can use. For example, we're going to use the marker function. We're also going to use the Polygon function. You can use the rectangle. You can use the pop-up. There's tons and tons for functions that you can use. They already made it in this library, and we're just going to use it out of the box. But in order to access any of these functions, you have to use the L object. So I'm going to go back to the documentation. And as you see, the third step is to add the markup for a division with an ID, map ID. And you actually can change the ID here. You don't have to stick with this ID. Actually, I'm going to change it to show you how you can change that. Here inside the body, I'm going to paste it, and I'm just going to call it just map. There's no need to call it map ID. Now, they say here, make sure that the map already having a height. Actually, I'm going to do more than a height, so I need to style this div, the one that I just added. So I'm going to go here. Let me open side by side so you can see any changes that we're making. So let me save this, close this here. And now I'm going to add a style tag here in the head. And I'm going to select the map ID. I'm going to give it a height. The height, let's say 800 pixel. And also I'm going to give it a width of 800 pixel. And also I want to give it a margin. Top and bottom, I'll do 5 rem. Left and right, I'm going to do it auto to center it in the middle of the screen. And still you can't see the map because we didn't load it from the JavaScript. That's going to come in the next step. So the next step, we're going to set up the map. And they tell you to set up the map, you need to create a variable using the L object and use the map function. And this map function will take only one argument. And this argument is going to be the ID of your map division here. Once you add this, you need to set the view. So to set the view, you need to pick a point where you want to center your map. You want to center it in US, you want to center it in Europe, which coordinates you want it to be the center. So you have to set the coordinates. And as you can see, the coordinates are set by an array. So it's just an array having 2 items. The first items will be the latitude and then the longitude. And this is going to be the first argument for the set view. The second argument is going to be the zooming level. So I'm going to copy this and I'm going to customize it a little bit here. First, I'm not going to use vars. I'm going to use constant. And if you remember, we changed the map ID to just map. So I'm using the L object map function. And as you can see here, we can chain multiple functions together as we can do it in jQuery. This library is similar to jQuery. And if I save this, now you can see the map, not actually the map, but the map layout. You don't have the map yet. And the reason for that, as I said before, the leaflet is not the map provider. You have to pick the map provider, which in that case is the Mapbox. That will take us to the next step. To actually show the map, you need to use the title layer. Title layer will have all the information about your map provider, the zoom offset, and your access token. In that case is going to be our API key. It having the max zoom, you can set the maximum zoom, and all the information you needed. And after you set the title layer, you need to add it to the map. In that case, we're going to use add to function, and I'm going to pass my map, which in that case is going to be the constant here. And I'm going to add this title layer to the map. So think about the map as a layer that you're going to put it over the placeholder we have here from the leaflet. So I'm going to copy this. Actually, we need to customize this. This is the title. Here, the first argument for the title layer, you don't change that. This is a placeholder for the Mapbox URL, where it will take the ID, the access token, all these parameters will be filled from here. Do not alter this. Also, don't change any of this here. All you need to change is the API key. So here, you have to provide your access token to the service of the Mapbox. So I'm going to take this out and put the API key constant. And I save this. And now I have my map, which is centered. I believe this is London and UK. Okay, the attribute here, if you want to show all this strings here, you can take this out because this is what's set by the attribute key here. Remember, this is just an object with all the configuration you want to pass to the map. Like the access key is just an object, key and value. So in that case, if you don't want to show all this footer here to the map, you can take out the attribute, which I'm going to take it out right now. And that's it. Now, if I take it to the map, you're not going to find any footer here, only the leaflet. Another thing, now I don't want to center the map in London. So in order to center it to any different place, I need to change the coordinates here. So I'm going to head to Google Maps. I'm going to click in any point here. Somehow, if I'm sitting in New York, I'm going to click a point here. And the bottom here, you'll find the coordinates. I'm going to click on the coordinates, and I'm just going to copy them. I'm going to paste them here. And this is going to be my new center for the map. Once I save this, if I go back to the project, now, as you can see, the Manhattan is going to be the center of my screen. Now, I also can play with the zoom level. Now it's set for 13. I can change that to 9. So I'm going to make it the lower value. And as you can see, we zoom out. As you can increase this number, you can go up to 18 because this is the max zoom over here. So if I picked 18, as you can see, I'm already in the street. Of course, you can change this zooming level from here because it's an interactive map. But this, how you can add a map to your application. So for example, if you have a website that's having a contact page and you want to show a map of your address, you can simply use the Leaflet Library, and it's just a couple of lines, and it's not that complicated. And also you use the Mapbox. Okay, now let's talk about how you can add marker to this map. So I'm going to add a comment here, adding marker. I'm going to save that. And I'm also don't like initially it will be zoom in, so I'm going to set it back to 13. That's much better. To add a marker, you need to create a marker. To create a marker, I'm just going to add a new constant. I'm going to call it marker. And to create a marker, we still need to use the L object. And in that case, I'm going to use marker function. And the marker function take only one argument. And in that case, the coordinates of the marker. And if you remember, we add coordinates to the Leaflet library using arrays. So I'm going to add an array like this. I'm going to get back to Google Map to check where is the Empire State Building. and it's right here. So I can click right next to it, and I'm going to get the coordinates. I'm going to copy them from here. And this is the coordinates of the marker that I want, because I want the marker at the Empire State Building. And if I save this and you get back to the map, nothing will show. And the reason, you just created the constant, but you never added to the map. To add it to the map, we're going to use the same function we used over here, add to. So I can chain down here the function add to and just put my map. So I want to add it to my map. And my map simply is the variable for the whole map, or the constant for the whole map here. And if I save this, as you can see, we have the marker right here. And that's it for the marker. As you can see, it's very simple to add markers. You can add multiple of markers in different locations on the map. But now let's cover how you can add a pop-up message to this marker. I'm going to put a comment here, add pop-up message. To add a pop-up message, you need to select the marker or the constant of that marker. So I'm going to select the marker here because I want to add the pop-up message to this marker, and I already define it as marker. There's an R over here. And then I'm going to need to use the bind pop-up function to it. So I'm going to put dot bind P capital, it's camel case, pop-up function to it. And that's how you can bind a pop-up message to a marker or to any of the elements you're adding to the map. As we can see, we can bind pop-up messages to circles, polygons, rectangles, whatever you want. You can always use the bind or binding the pop-up message to any constants or variable you're having on the map. So in that case, I'm just gonna add hello world. I save this. Initially, it's not gonna show up the pop-up message. The user needs to click on the marker to show the message. As you can see, there is a message over here, hello world. If I click on it, close it, it's gonna toggle it every time you click on this marker. And you can also provide here an HTML markup. For example, I can set this as an H1. Save that, click on it. As you can see now, it's becoming a header. It's becoming bigger and bolder. Another trick you can do is the pop-ups that, as you can see, when I refresh the page, initially the pop-up is not going to showing up. If you want it to be shown up initially when the user load the page to be opened, all you need to do is just chain down open pop-up function, and that will initially make it open. Now, if I refresh, as you can see, it's opened, and this is going to be the initial case, and the user have to close it. But this is not what we're going to be doing here. I just want to show you this functionality and how you can use this function. So I'm going to take it out. Let's create a markup or make this pop-up message here as a card with an image, adding the markup for an image. To do so, I'm just going to create a variable, call it template equal. I'm going to use the backtext here to add the markup in multiple lines. In that case, I'm going to use an H1 bar state building. I'm going to close my H1, and I'm going to pass by my variable to the bind pop-up function here. So I'm going to put template. And now when I click on it, as you can see, I have this markup. And now if I want to add an image, I got to use the image tag. So I'm going to search for an image for the Empire State Building. Go for images. I can save this image, right click on it, save it as. And I'm just going to put it inside my project folder. And I should see it here. Just going to rename it to image, something like that. And now I'm going to use the image tag as the source, the image.jpg. And I also can use the width and the height attributes. So I'm going to do width, in that case 150 pixels, height to be 150 pixels. If I save this, let's see how it looks like. That's good. We can center it in the middle here. We can center the image by just wrapping the image tag with a div tag or a div container. Now this div, I can give it a style. I'm going to do text line center. Now tested. As you can see, the image now is in the middle of the pop-up screen. I don't like the heading 1. I'm just going to make it a little bit smaller. So I'm going to try H3. Take a look right now. It looks much better. So this is the Empire State Building, and I have the image here in the center. Can close it, and this is my pop-up screen. Perfect. And that's how you can add markup to your pop-ups screens and to your marker. Now we're going to talk about how you can add a circle. So I'm going to add circle. And for this circle, I need to create, I'm adding a new layer. So I need to create a new constant. I'm going to call it circle. And to create a circle or generate a circle, I'm going to still need the L object and use the circle function. For the circle function, you need to provide, first is the center, and the certain center is going to be provided as a coordinates. So it's have to be an array. And I want to add the circle to the same center point of my marker, which in that case is going to be around the Empire State. So I'm going to copy this. I'm going to add it here. But also you need to pass configurations as a second argument to this circle. And the configuration, you pass it as an object. So the configuration that I want to pass it, radius 500 meter. If I take a look, nothing changed. The reason you didn't set the color of this circle. So I'm going to set it the color to be green. And the color should be a string. So it's green. Now let's take a look. And it's actually not showing up. And the reason for that, because I created the variable, but I forget to add it to my map using the add to function. So I'm gonna do add to my map. I save that. Now I can see my circle. I'm just gonna take out this the green color, trying to see what is the default color. And it looks like the default color is the blue. So if you just provided the radius, it will give you the blue color. Let's test if we take out the radius, just passing an empty object. As you can see, it's gonna be tiny, tiny circle. Apparently this is the default radius, which is look like 1 meter. So we're gonna get it back as a radius 500 meter. And we're also gonna give it a color of green. So if I save this here, you have the edge color, which is look like a darker green, and the filling color here. You can control the fill color, not the edge color. The color control the edge color, but the fill color, you can control it along with the fill opacity. You see here, it's transparent. You can still read the street names. You can control that, you passing this configurations to this object. So I'm gonna do the fill color, and it's camel case. I'm gonna put it as red. Also to the fill opacity to be 1. If I save that, now it's not transparent anymore because the fill opacity is 1, and the color or the fill color is red, and the edge is green. Okay, I don't like the opacity to be fully not transparent, so I'm gonna set it to 0.2. And here we have this transparent red color, so you still can read the street names and all the logos. You can see it. And that's how you can add a circle. Also, still can add a pop-up to it by simply adding that bind pop-up and just add your pop-up message here. In that case, I am a circle. I'm going to go over here, click anywhere in this circle, and you're going to see the pop-up message here. Also for the marker, it's have its own pop-up message. And that's how you can add more functionality to the circle layer. Okay, that's for the circle. Finally, in this video, we're going to explore the polygon, how you can use a polygon, or how you can draw a polygon to this map. So for the polygon, I'm going to create a new, just going to add a comment here, add polygon. For the polygon, we still need to create a new constant. I'm going to call it polygon, lowercase b. And I'm going to use the polygon function that provided in the L object. For the polygon, we need to provide an array of arrays. So there is an array as the first argument, and there is a configuration as a second argument, which is similar to the circle here. So there is an array, an object, the object for the configuration, and this array is going to include also another arrays. So it's every single array you're going to add it here is going to be a point of coordinates that you want to draw the coordinates. So for example, if I want to draw the coordinates here, I'm going to pick this as my first point, which is going to be a separate array. This is going to be my second point, and this is going to be my third point. And I need to finish by the same starting point to close the shape. So I'm going to add 4 shapes if I want to add a triangle. If I want to add a triangle here, this is my starting, second, third, and I have to add my closing point similar to where I started. So I have here a couple of coordinates that I'm going to be pasting them here. So they are arrays inside the bigger array that's including them. And notice that the starting point here, it's similar to the end point here. And I'm going to fill couple of the configuration here. I want the color to be blue, the fill color, make it also blue, and the fill opacity to be 0.2. See that? And still not showing up, and the reason because I still didn't add it to the map. Don't forget to add to function and select the map that you want to add it to, because you might have multiple maps, so you need to make a reference which map you want to add it to. And in that case, you'll see my polygon here. This is my first point, second, third, fourth, and fifth. And if you count them here, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, because you have to end with the same starting point. If I highlight this, if I comment this, and if I try to take a look at it, it will automatically close it. That's fine. And if I highlight this, now it's 3 points. It's somehow going to draw a triangle. Well, this is something new for me, that it automatically closed the first point, so I don't need to add it at the end here. So I'll take this out. This is an extra step to close it as the starting point. It will still close it for you. Also, similarly, as we did with the circle, when you click on it, having a pop-up screen, we can add this functionality to this polygon. But I'm going to do it in a different way. And instead of chaining it, I'm going to refer to the polygon constant, and I'm just going to find pop-up. I am a polygon. So this is another way. You don't need to chain everything. You still can reference the constant. So this is one way to do stuff here. If I click on it, as you can see, I can see it. The second way that you can take this and chain it over here, it will work the same. So I'm going to comment this so you can have it as a reference. Pretty much both are the same. Here you're putting everything together and chain it to the constant polygon. Here you would reference it, and then you add this function and you pass the text to it. Okay guys, that's it for today's video, and I hope you like it. If you do like it, give us a thumbs up. And also, if you're not subscribed to our channel, subscribe now to get more videos like this. And I'll see you in the next video. Have a good day.